First, we're going to fire the guy in the White House. Then we're going to repeal Obamacare. Even if we don't, heaven forbid, Obama becomes president, I want you to think about who you want to send to Washington as your insurance policy that's going to stand there and hold him to account. That's one of the things that you have to make a decision on tonight. With regards to the constabulary forces, some of you may remember in the last campaign in 2010, I actually brought the 2,700-page bill around with us. We had it printed double-sided with two little things on a page, and it still weighed about 40 pounds. It creates 160 new agencies. Think about all of the bureaucrats. Already we've started to see funding requests go through for IRS agents for enforcement. Think about that. Think about that. Obamacare has been, I'm going to focus on Obamacare, and then I'm going to close with concerns about overreach of the executive with martial law powers in the United States. So two pieces, indulge me. Obamacare is probably the biggest job killer any of us have seen in our lifetime. All of you know King's Barbecue Restaurant in Kingston? Mr. King said, and they employ about 50 people, that he would have a $200,000 penalty starting in 2014, and that they would have to shut their business. This is a business that's been around for 75 years. That story plays out across the district in every industry you can think, from Goodyear and Fayetteville, you name it. Obamacare has caused businesses to be reluctant to hire because of the uncertainty of what it would cost. It's been great if you're a consultant, a lobbyist, or an attorney, but for everybody else, it's been a job killer. It's actually hurt quality of care because now people are having a harder time actually getting access to doctors, and now there are fewer people that actually want to go become doctors. I've got to pivot now in the remaining time to address this other concern. Mr. Crow mentioned the NDAA. Obamacare has these provisions as well. There is real concern that there is some overreach by the federal government to eliminate things like posse comitatus, which kept the military in a law enforcement or away from a law enforcement capacity and kept it focused on foreign threats. Increasingly, with drones and new bills like this, we're seeing an inward focus of our forces, and frankly, that's very dangerous for a government founded by the people for the people, which is why I'm a Second Amendment supporter.
I think it's very simple. The only way you address it is to repeal it. The only way it's going to be repealed is to have a huge election in 2012 where we have a new president. We add more conservatives to the U.S. House and we take control of the U.S. Senate. You know, Obamacare is a job killer in a big way. I'm going to share a quick story with you. My daughter, a few years older than I am, he told me this story not long ago. He said, I had a CEO come in here, and he said, what's going to be the effect of Obamacare? And he said, I told him, I said, you can see increases in health insurance, you can see less of a doctor-patient relationship. The guy called him about 3 weeks later, he said, I want to take you and your wife out to dinner. He said, why? He said, well, you just saved our company hundreds of thousands of dollars. He said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, we got all the right folks around the table and figured out how much Obamacare was going to cost us. We were set to hire 60 new college graduates, and we didn't hire them. Now, those 60 new college graduates, they may have a job, but they lost out on an opportunity to start a career.
This thing about the civilian police, getting kids to give them a gun and being in this police force thing has been bandied around and been something that has scared a lot of people, rightfully so, for a long time. But I mean, the whole thing, Obamacare, needs to be repealed yesterday. There are a couple of thoughts is, why is it there? The reason is because you've got monopolists, that it's a consolidation of a giant portion of an economy, and that's why these corporations like it and why it's there. And it's the same thing that has been going on for years. It's putting more of the economy into these giant corporations. Now, what do we do? And I've been thinking about this, but I think the states are going to have to start standing up to the federal government and just not going along with their things and just standing up to them. It's going to be tied with the state, I think.
Thank you very much. Mr. Connor.
The state is a great place to pick up the conversation because what we see with Obamacare is really a bigger shift and a bigger fight in our society. That's the encroachment of statism, right? The idea that you can't take care of yourself, that you need the government to take care of things for you, that you are not smart enough, you can't manage your money well enough. Do you know about this Warren Buffett rule? So here's this billionaire who says he wants to make sure taxes are raised for everybody else. When asked point blank, do you know that this billionaire, Mr. Buffett, when he was asked why doesn't he give more of his personal family foundation money to the federal government, do you know what he said? Because our family can manage it better. How dare he now shill for President Obama and basically invite the government to take from you, to give to you in a reallocation of wealth. That's what Obamacare is the front end of. It has to be fought. And all the provisos for bringing troops into it are particularly painful to me. Most of you know my background, but for those of you that don't, I enlisted when I was 17 and I fought the first Gulf War. And then I went back into the Marines after I saw the attacks of September 11th. When the enemy comes, we go fight them. Don't commit the military to actions on our homeland. Thank you.
Good question, sir. Thank you for that. Let's talk about bailouts for a few minutes. President Bush issued the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act of 2008. When President Obama took over, he took this several steps further with stimulus and bailouts for the auto industry, for banks, for AIG, mortgages, for energy companies. We could go on and on and on, but I'll stop there. Would you support another bailout for anyone? Under what circumstances? Banks, businesses, energy companies, and is any business too big to fail? And just kind of explain your answer a little bit. And for this question, we're going to start with Mr. Rouser, then go to Mr. Crow, then to Mr. Pantano, and then back to Mr. Rouser.
You know, I think it's important to understand that over a period of time, government has grown so large, and so big, and so cumbersome. And I don't know if there was a conscious decision at some point in time, or just merely self-preservation that led to this. But big business and big government go hand in hand. Big business and big government work together. At some point in time, the businesses said, you know, rather than fight the government every waking hour of every day, why don't we use the government to our advantage to secure our market share, to keep our place in the marketplace. And you know, that hurts competition. That hurts the smaller guys. That hurts the entrepreneurial spirit. The bailouts, no, I don't support the bailouts. But I think the bailouts came about, this idea of too big to fail, because you had this combination of big business and big government that created these scenarios. And the resolution to this, the solution to it, we've got to shrink the government. We've got to cut the government. We've got to get rid of all these rules and regulations that are stifling small business and giving the big guys a competitive advantage in the marketplace. But I think that's how we arrived where we are. It didn't just happen overnight. It happened over a long period of time where government and business got more and more intertwined. And hence you end up with these institutions that officials, elected officials, and others feel are quote too big to fail. So I think we've got to understand how we got where we are, and then work to untangle this and get back to the principles of free enterprise and work together.
Mr. Crow?
Well, I don't believe in accidents. I believe this thing, I mean, the federal